live on stage. The sound
of Orlando.
So, is they ready? The sound
of Orlando. You know?
What is going on, party people? What is going on? This is your boy Rome, live and direct. We're back for another evening of conversation with our legends and legends abroad. I'm going to start out the show by saying, by quoting Jay-Z as well, just let the thing run. I'm going to fuck up a lot, but I'm gonna get it. If you hear mistakes, if you hear kind of just me finding my way, just know where I'm at in my life. Just know, if you know who I am, this is all in the process of growing. I didn't expect to do this show at all because this was not on my radar. I'm doing it out of the love for my city. I believe that we need a voice in this city that represents more of the story. I hope this show is a part of that, more of the story. And, shout out to my man, Seth One. Love you, brother. That's my dude. You gave me some advice today. Better believe I'm taking heed of that advice. As far as growing with the show, just like a lot of my peoples out there, they've been giving me advice on certain things. Hey, why don't you say this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? All those things are good in growing, but just know that when we're listening to the show in a live format, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to hear. Just as you hear the discussions, just be open to the growth, because we are growing. We're 3.5, 4 months in, and we're still doing our thing here. So I'd like to thank all my supporters, all the people that are, tuning in every night. I know it's crazy, 5 days a week, and yet we still have everyone tuning in, and I believe that's a great thing. So shout outs to you. I also want to say kudos to our people out in Africa and across the country that are tuning in as well. I think it's a great thing to hear stories of this thing of ours called hip hop. Now, with that said, I want to start this conversation by bringing on my next guest when we're talking about this thing of ours. My next guest, legendary author, legendary, to me, he's an artist. He started off with BET, doing things with BET. He's been on radio. He's our program director in our own Orlando, Florida, 98.5 The Wire. He's still evolving and still growing and still doing incredible things. He's got a great book. If you care about the industry of this thing of ours and want to know some insights on what that is all about, please go out there, go to Amazon right now and purchase that book, The Blackout. Okay, very informative. He's been on MSNBC. He's just a gentleman with knowledge, just filled to the brim. If you ever get to talk with him, you'll gain so much insight on this thing of ours. So without further ado, let me bring on my next guest, my brother from another mother, the legendary, our own Orlando's Paul Porter. Let's go, my brother. What's good, homie?
Damn, man. I thought I was gonna be the second guest the way you were doing the intro. That shit sort of scared me. That's the way to say the nice old man.
Hey,
man, how come I'm in on the side of your screen looking all weird? Okay,
hey, man,
that's better, man.
Center.
But thank you for that. Yeah, I've been around the block in this game for 43 years now and seen all different shit, man, from, growing up in the 60s when music had so much power, man.
Yeah.
And when I knew that it had me, I think I was 11 years old. And back then on your birth certificate, it was Negro and colored. And the one thing you didn't want to be called is black, because that was like bad. You too black. And when James Brown came out with Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, I've been black ever since. That one record changed the whole country, and black became like the cool word because we wanted to be light skinned, you know, I have
Man.
good hair. And
Man.
that was the power of music. So I've been studying the game since the little guy, and you know, trying to fight for what's right too, because corporate America has stolen the culture. And unfortunately, 85% of us are sheep. We're just gonna follow the leader.
Yeah.
And you know, if they leading us down this imbalanced path, look, I believe all hip hop is part of the story. But when you only show one side of it, and
Right.
you only bank one side of it,
Right.
then you're gonna get one side of the culture. And that's the unfortunate thing that's been happening now.
For those that don't know you, and you talk about your upbringings, talk about where you came from, and how did you find yourself in, like you said, this thing of ours called hip hop and music.
I grew up in Jamaica, Queens. So
shout out to Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah, and Queens in the late 60s, you know, that was like the first black communities, man. Like and a lot of, not a lot, but a couple, like the natural thing to do was you had a choice: go to the service, go to be a cop, a correction officer, work transit, or sanitation or something like that. But there were two older men in the neighborhood, Bill Staten, he used to work at Atlantic and all that stuff, and Mr. Stroud. Mr. Stroud got a divorce and married Nina Simone. So I used to go over there when I was little, from like 8 and on, but I didn't know what was going on. But Mr. Stroud was a mentor, and he was Diddy before Diddy. You know, I remember going in the 70s to his office at RCA and meeting the Main Ingredient, you know.
Man, and what a group that was, man.
Yeah. So, and then one thing led to another. I went to college. I played ball in college. Still nice. Still got my left hand.
Yeah. Still got that left hand, brother.
Christ the King High School, man. We were the first ones that beat Malloy. But anyway.
Okay.
And you know, college radio was it, man. It was the beginning. And my little station is, you know, Wendy Williams came through there.
Yeah.
Darius Walker. There's so many people, man. It's some cool stuff. And radio led to DC, college radio, I should say. And Donnie Simpson found me. And then I was the voice of BET in the 90s.
Man.
And that's when, you know, it was Video Vibes and Rap City, and I used to do Video Soul, and This Is Midnight Love on BET. And Hope.
That's crazy, man. I mean, to hear you do that, I remember growing up during that time, and BET was our after school. Like, we'd come home and just couldn't wait to see the BET, the Rap City, the Video Soul, the Video Countdown, Donnie Simpson, like you said. All of that. Madeline Woods, man. Man, that was a great time, man. And you were the voice. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I went on to be the music consultant, the program director, to get fired, to get my ass kicked. Had to get it picked up and down. But yeah, it's a journey, but you got to wear different hats, you know. And right now the game is so whack. Like, everybody's chasing streams. And why chase streams? It's 0.0006 per stream, and we used to bitch that it was 75 cents on an album,
75 cents on a dollar, or 25 cents on a dollar.
Yeah, but now we're fighting for fractions of a penny, and there's so many ways to make money, but we're so concerned. What is 1 million streams? The average artist don't get 1 million, nothing, and 1 million pays you $3,000. So that shows you, you know. But like the one thing I always tell people, we got to study the business side of this. I got an app now. It's called Music Biz U, and I'm all about the business of this. And I played around for years and not got the business. And you learn by losing. In this game, more money is made from losers than winners. Ask iTunes. Ask all the people that post that get nothing. And all the people on Spotify with no streams. You know, you make more money by losers in this business, and folks got to be careful.
You said starting out in BET, you were able to see, because that was during the time where BET really began. And if you could quantify or look at what BET was at that point and where it is now, what would be your synopsis on the growth?
Well, I mean, BET had a great run from the 90s to like 2007 or something like that. Then the numbers started going down. And there was a lot more programming in terms of, you know, it left the music video realm and it became more, you know, sitcoms and old shows. So it's been an uphill battle, but BET plays such an important part in it. There was nothing bigger than getting on Donnie Simpson's couch.
No.
In the 90s. That was before Arsenio Hall and the black place to be. And BET's no longer that. I mean, and nobody watches music videos on video shows anymore. And that's why MTVs and everywhere have disappeared. So it's a changing environment, but it was good to be part of a lot of great history. And you know,
and during that time, you got to see artists like Phyllis Hyman, you know,
used to live up the street from me.
Crazy. I loved her, man. But you could see so many different artists, the Alexander O'Neills, you know, the Morris Days, and they weren't the superstars of those days, but you could see the superstar with the B-roll stars or the C-roll stars. BET provided that platform for everybody. Do you feel like there was a decision made to kind of like, we're only going to deal with superstars and that's it?
Well, I mean, BET is label friendly. Like what the labels want to do, 8 times out of 10, BET's going to do with them because they pay the bills, you know? And I learned that way back in the 90s. When I went back to BET to programming in 99, and I got a call because I remember I played Michael Jackson's Remember the Time video. And then the head of sales said, why are you playing that old video? If we're playing something new, it would keep the labels happy. And I said, it's a badass video. And then I got a call, play the shit that the label, anyway, it was just a battle. And it's so American, you know. It's not about culture. It's about who has the most money. I could bring them the greatest video in the world and they'll never play it because they'll make an excuse. Everybody does that. Radio, television, you know, people do what they want to do in this business.
Right. I'm glad I got you on tonight because I need a question answered. BET was the only, and you were there during that time, BET was the only network that played Public Enemy's Welcome to the Terror Dome video, but they played it without Chuck D on it. They banned it from MTV, but do you know any insight on why they made that decision?
That's funny. I wasn't there then.
Okay.
But I know that from knowing the history and talking to a lot of folks then, that the labels would pull things and add things and not want certain things. There was so much controversy with Chuck. Chuck was scaring white people because he was white people. And that shit is scary, bro. You know? Look, think about it. I remember the night when Michael Jackson got played on MTV. When that Billie Jean shit came out, Donnie Simpson called me and we went to the Fox. I was 24 years old, I think. It was just crazy. It was like, oh shit, Michael Jackson's on MTV. And I ain't dying no time soon of old age. This racism shit is real. Like Michael Jackson, and he was the biggest artist on the planet. And we talking about the 80s, even though the 80s is 40 years ago almost, but that's not really that long. Because
No,
I
it
can
isn't.
kick a 20-year-old's ass, and I got 40 years on them. So
Talk
let's
your
not-
shit, bro. Talk your shit.
no, really.
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
but I used to think when I was 20 that 40 was old. And when I got to 40 and 20 years later, I'm at 60, I'm like, when do it? But I can sort of feel it's coming, but yo, I'm still good at 60. All my shit works. Boom, boom, I get an elbow. I still can kick you in the head. And I'm actually smarter than I was 20 years ago. So,
Man.
there's a difference between experience and expertise. And you got to work on the expertise. Like everybody can get experience, but to be good at it for a long time and to be respected, that shit I've seen so many people come for 7, 8, 9 years, boom. 5 great years, boom. Or then they turn into the perennial liar or selling the same shit they did in 94 forever. Like if you can't adapt and change in this joint, you're going to have some problems. And you got to spend some time on yourself, knowing your weakness is your strength. And guess what? If you're not going to invest in yourself, nobody is. I just started taking voiceover lessons again. Why? Because I want to be better. And I'm good. I can say AT&T, it's all within your reach. But no, I also know that the person I'm taking my lessons from is a casting director. And I know I'd rather spend, $150 an hour with him that could land up to a $50, $60, $80,000 job than go on YouTube and figure it out myself.
Right.
So sometimes it's building that inner circle over time that's going to give you some options. Like, we really are confused about the business of music. And that's why in my book, Blackout, and the title Blackout is not racist. Blackout means a temporary loss of consciousness. And we lost consciousness because music for so long was our power and strength. And they took it away. And look, I love hip hop, but most of commercial hip hop is completely different of how the art form started and what it was balance. All I want is balance. And I love gangster shit too. But all it is stupid stuff now. It's 80% of one thing. And they know what they're doing. And we eating it up too.
Well, you've seen it from the beginning. Where do you feel like the beginnings of the fall were?
2000.
2000.
Look, man, we went from Diana Ross in the 60s to Aretha Franklin to Whitney Houston to Beyonce, to Cardi B. It's like, if you can see the decline of the black woman, imagine where the black man is, from the image where we used to hold high. And it's nothing against Cardi B. It's just, it just seems like, like stripping is like our best thing ever. Like, it's like you see all the kids twerking. Oh, and they're so cute. Really?
Right. Well, you're saying that, and I can't not ask you this. What did you feel about the Grammy performance?
I thought they had some good parts, but I said, wow, Megan and Cardi just did a strip show on CBS. Like, I haven't seen it like that. Like, they used to talk.
That's the only thing I would say too, because I've been watching CBS since the Carol Burnett show, and I don't remember ever that a strip tease or a strip club on CBS. Like, that would have been the last.
Not in prime time. Yeah.
Right.
But that's what I mean. It's the powers that be. Like, and I'm a media, like, I'm a real media thought-provoking critic, like, challenge the system. Like, whoever makes the rules, that's who I want to know. Like, why
Right.
is this the standard? Like, who? And I've been lucky enough to be on television all over the world. Entertainment Tonight, Russian TV. I just did last week. I've done everything. CNN, the MSNBC's local, plenty of stuff. But most of the people in these rooms are not black and brown people. Like, I'm on the board at Parents Television Council, which is big, white. They raise a lot of money, but they get me places that my black buck couldn't get, you know, initially. And then once you're there and you kill it, they call you back. But I go on my terms. And sometimes, you know, I did Bill O'Reilly. He flipped it completely. But I still had to get out my side and learn. Anyway, there's a lot to fight for, but we're real quiet. And unfortunately, so many people are uneducated in terms of, you know,
do you think it's because of the artists? Do you think it's because of the circles, like you said earlier, or are we not talking to each other?
Look, we definitely are not talking. You know, we're YouTubing and texting. And the same thing, you know, I said 2000 was sort of like the fall where I started seeing it. And that was the same time that the internet started to take off. And to me, social media is like the parent of social distancing. There were less conversations. And we say it's this only the pandemic, but we've not been talking for a long time. You know, people were texting and not uniting and getting together. And I see the split, you know, because it's so easy now to do work from, I could be on a workstation in Sweden, you know, doing a session from Florida. So, you know, you don't have to get on as many planes or shake as many hands or hear as many voices to make deals happen. And that's, to me, real deals happen when you really talk. Like, I've never made a deal with somebody that I didn't talk to on the phone.
Right. You know, I love what you just said right there too, because we don't talk on the phone, and it sounds silly, but to people that grew up with the phone first, like we were called advanced. We were called the same thing we called the kids then, because we grew up with pay phones. You know, there was access to phones. You could at least communicate with someone. But these kids grew up with computers, straight computers, born into a computer. So, yeah, for a lot of it, they don't have to talk. There's an app for it. They can figure it out on their own. But music-wise, I think it's really telling, because for a lot of people, you know, we've sort of accepted the rules of engagement, which is the money, which is the like you said, the kind of bamboozledness, you know, and we only notice it because you said earlier there's no balance. How do we get to that balance? Or do we have
ownership? You know, if you're not at the table, you'll be on the menu. That's for sure. And
wow! Say that one more time. Say that one more time for the people.
If you're not at the table, you will be on the menu. My life is a history of doing well and getting fried. So, and ownership is gonna be the help. We're this like our first generation. I work for some of the best Black folks in the business, for Bob Johnson and Kathy Hughes, but that's it, Oprah, you know. So this is first Byron Allen, but there's not enough folks, Black and brown folks, making decisions. So hopefully that's going to change. And it's not going to change in the next 5 years. It's not going to change in my lifetime. I think it's going to take time. Because, you know, we went through the dumb part where everybody just spends all their money and, you know, and not knowing the business. And now it's starting to level off. So we'll see how it continues to grow.
What made you decide, given your history in radio and network TV and all the other things that you've done, what made you say, okay, I'm going to write this book and expose the things that people aren't talking about?
It's not even exposed. It's just like tell the truth. Like there's
Right.
so many books that were written from the outside. Like there was this classic book, Hitman, and all you need to know about the music business and all the stuff that you see online. 10 years ago, I started the site raprehab.com because I saw all the hustles out here and people always coming to me and being ripped off. So when I had a book deal with HarperCollins, got a great advance, wrote this great book. It was called The Same Songs, Music, Power, and Payola in the music industry. And when I handed in the book, I was like, I got a winner. But to make a long story short, that HarperCollins was owned by Sony BMG. And a lot of the stories that I told in the book were players from Sony BMG. And it basically came down to, yo, you're not putting out this book, keep the money, and we'll hold it for 7 years, and then you do what you want.
Wow.
So I held
it.
Yeah, I held it and decided I cut out 80 pages of it, updated it to go all the way up to 2017 and changed some things, but took out all the sex and drugs and sex and money and sex and tried to make it more. Yeah, I mean, it's a complete story and it has some dirt in it. And the good thing is if you Google Blackout, Paul Porter C-SPAN, they gave me 90 minutes out of DC. And I tell some of the craziest stories that I didn't share in the book, where I knew, some life-changing moments where I knew shit was like, it's funny, I'm just thinking about one now. When I was going to my boy's house, who was the coke man at the time, and you would ring the bell and go up to the 3rd floor, and all the doors on the floor would open, and there were always relatives, and they check who it is, and you go down the hall, and when you open the door, there was a couch there, and on the couch, sitting looking fried, were Mayor Marion Barry, Jim Vance, and John F. Kennedy Jr. And they all had on them, and I was like, oh shit, look who's here. And that was a changing moment for me in that side of my life.
Wow, man, that's heavy, man. You said something about payola. For a lot of people that live in Orlando, it seems at times, and I know this is not exclusive to Orlando, but kind of growing up or living through my teens and my early 20s, it did at times felt like the radio represented us, similar to what New York was for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
The radio, yeah, they did some fucked up shit, but it still represented New York. It still sounded like New York, like there was still a representation of New York in the radio. But then fast forward maybe 10, 15 years, it felt like representation of the radio damn near zero, of feeling like this was even being played in our city. Like
that's consolidation, man. That's what happened in '96. The Telecom Act under Bill Clinton, where Clear Channel went from 90 stations to 1,100 in like 3 years, and that's why you hear the Breakfast Club and the Tom Joyners and Michael Bazins and Steve Harveys that excuse me, that get replicated around the country as the only black voice is Ricky Smiley. But
right.
It's amazing how few voices are represented. and when it comes to black radio and black voices in general.
Right. Do you feel, and obviously we're going to talk about The Wire. How was that presented to you? How did you? I was always curious about what went into the idea, the mindset, especially given your resume. You see this little radio station.
I wound up coming down here. My mom and uncle retired, and I was out in the country, out in Melbourne, and one of my boys, PA, he had an LPFM up in Muskegon.
Right.
And PA was the one who was like, hey man, they're having an offering. You want to get a station in Orlando? I'm good at this. You're good at this. And yeah, we started the process, and we knew nobody would want a station in Pine Hills. Well, knowing the reputation,
right?
We won the bid, and it was a program that's not available anymore. But they limit your power, they limit your reach, they limit your, but it's still a great place to start people out. And the problem is nobody's, teaching broadcasters how to be good. iHeart Station here has a bunch of rookies, and the people that are teaching them are rookies being rookies. And basically, they make some of these stations not to tie in the community, but just to tie in the ad dollars. So we want to do a lot for community and give some people a chances. And no, nobody's going to get rich.
Well, I don't know about the rich part because, once again, like I said, me being from here and seeing what went on here with radio and the lack of it for a while, we had maybe a 5, maybe 10-year run where there was dual stations. But then, like most radio, they go into wars, and before you know it, you can't even distinguish one from the other. But then you guys come along. I'm in Kansas City. I didn't even know you guys exist. And I'm hearing all this good stuff about you guys and what you guys are doing. And it was so bad down here, we had to have pirate radio. Like, it was just like we needed something else, like a voice of our people. So we were just pirating 95 Live, Shout out to anybody that knows that other station that we have for a minute. And we did what we needed to do. Dogman Radio, like there was just so many. It wasn't representing us at all. It wouldn't play our music. And if they did, they only played one person. We didn't feel like we heard us in the radio. One of our legendary radio broadcasters, Bartel Bartel, he had died suddenly, but he was probably the closest thing to representation. Like he would play our stuff. He was, very down to earth.
But you didn't feed the right hands, man.
No. I'm building up to that.
Okay, good.
98.5 The Wire will be held in regard, like Pine Hills was, you said, it's Pine Hills, it's Crime Hills. But those people over there are listening to some of the most representatory stuff of their city that literally the entire city should be exposed to. Like, I think sometimes, like, damn, because I used to live in Ola Vista, which is not that, it's right there. But just the idea of having, all these different voices on there. And you guys are on there representing the city. You talk about
that's it. You, man. Why are you talking about it like some strange third person? Like,
well, no. Because once again, I'm to your point. I'm trying to say for what you guys are doing because you did this. You gave this opportunity.
I thought you were bugging. I said, this nigga got up the sound of Orlando.
Talk your shit, Paul. Talk your shit.
The last 18 years and shit. But okay.
No, I'm thanking you because once again for what you guys have done in the city.
You because Look, man, I've been all over the country. Not all over, I gotta admit, but Boston, New York, DC, Atlanta, and Miami. And the one thing that always works is hiring good talent. Like, just let people do their thing and figure out if you can eat. Like when I got hired, Donnie Simpson said, "Do your thing," gave me some wide parameters. But now everybody plays the same thing at the same time with no creativity, and it's painful.
Right.
And you know, we're in a microwave era, but there's so many great artists and songwriters,
Right.
and it's coming back. Like this new Bruno Mars Anderson Paak thing. All that is a R&B song from the 90s, 70s, or 80s. You
Right.
know, Leave the Door Open is, now it just went #1 today. And that's only because it's Bruno Mars. If Lettucey would have made it, they would have never played it. But that's how the game runs.
Well, in a world that doesn't give a damn about history, it's refreshing to hear people at least reflect on it musically, because and be able to pull it off. That's another thing. Like the fact that they were able to pull it off, to capture that sound, and bring it out today. I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah, but the sound locks you in. Melodies and the hooks are like, we keep forgetting what makes a great song, like timeless stuff. Like a couple of weeks last month in January, I was watching the inauguration and John Legend was singing Feels Good by Nina Simone. She wrote that song in 1965. Then it played on a commercial during the commercial break. Like, that's a great song. That's what I want to be a part of. Great song, like picking those. Just don't give me a song that's going to be a great burn. Give me a great song where everybody wants to hear it forever and redo it in their own style. And just pay homage to your songwriting ability.
Right. I love what you just said too, because he's alluding people. He's a program director, so he gets. I'm pretty sure. I'm not even a program director. My email is filled to death with just music.
Yeah, but I know where you're going. The worst thing that we do as independent artists is the setup. Like, if you go into every conversation or meeting with a give instead of an ask, like when you can add something to somebody or do a little research, like if you just inbox me and say hot new joint, like, really? I don't know you. Or you inbox me. You inbox me on Instagram and say tap in and put a link. Come on, like, really? That's why I've been spending time on this Clubhouse app having conversations. Like, people remember what you say. It's like they remember the package that you send them the first time. You only make a first impression once. Like, can you bring in something better than, yo, I like what you're doing. How do I get on?
Right. You hear that, people? You hear that, Orlando? Same movement, just a different approach to it. Maybe that will give you an opportunity.
And we got to just do, like I got this saying, knowing your weakness is your strength. And once you really can admit and figure out what you're bad at, like I'm terrible at paperwork. Like I'm not that cat who's going to fill out the form and do, if you see me one day being arrested for some paper crime, it was probably right. And it's not that I was a crook. Maybe I just didn't dot the I or something. So I've learned how to get people to do that and pass that baton on. Like you know, or I know how to work on it and study, like, and admit that I got a go-to guy for video. I got a go-to guy for Instagram. I got go-to people to bounce certain stuff off. You might not have the perfect friend for everything, but if you have a couple people you can call that are geniuses at this game and you
Right.
don't burn out your trump cards, like,
Right.
I've been talking to Wendy Williams for 30 years. I ain't never asked her for anything. And,
Right.
and then she was the one who talked about my book, you know, and all I did is send it. Like, and I might have an ask real soon, but, you know, people just got to be patient, man. And remember,
Right.
pick your spot. And there's a sense, it's like jumping rope or double dutch. You know how people do the bobbing back and forth before they jump in?
Right.
Like, that's how you should be jumping in conversations. Like, it's about timing too. And you jump in and you jump in strong and try to take a conversation, a direction. Every time I'm on a conversation or an interview, I'm going to make my points and hopefully, you know, get something out of this conversation instead of like, yo, Rome, what's up, man? Yo, you like together and do some beats.
Man, you hear that, Orlando? You hear what he just said? Those are gems. They're jewels.
Yeah, but
Shut up.
take some time, please. Just
Right.
everybody take some time to learn and get some people in your circle. Like the last time I went to talk at a studio, I was driving on I-4 and got swiped by 2 cars racing. So I've been pissed to go places, but now I'm ready to come back out. Invite me out. Let's talk. Or we do it online, man. We do it here and build. Like, I got jewels to pass on, you know? Like, I want to see everybody win. I don't want to
Right.
be that old man 20 years from now at the senior home and you trying to borrow 500 from me because your job ain't working out. You're a 53-year-old rapper by then and shit, and you ain't figured it out. Like, I wanted you to be like, hey, Mr. Paul, man, I got you covered this month. So it's real easy if we all help each other. But we so effed up now, we can't even follow people. Like, nah, man, you gonna mess up my algorithm. You know, my IG is like, you know, oh, that dude got likes like a mofo, man. Look at this gay. You know, and then everybody's got a blue check. They got 44,000, you know, followers, and then you go to their pictures, they got 100 likes. Either you're
Right.
really whack or you bought your followers. Like,
Right.
you know, we got all different type games. Oh man.
Well, you know, I definitely want to say, man, for what you and the other Paul are doing for the city, I think is very important. It's added to all of our stories and how we see this particular place and this particular moment in time. To your point, you've seen a lot of crap in here in the industry that could have bittered you so much that you. I've heard it. I've heard people say I wasn't no parts of it. I ain't trying to manage no artists. I ain't trying to be involved in the music. And whatever you've done works so that you haven't been that get off my lawn guy. Like you're still hopeful in that.
Yes.
You're still
has so much power.
right.
I don't want to be the guy, like, I wear a gun every day. I don't want to shoot a kid and be the old man and shoot a kid because he's coming in to rob me.
Right.
I'd rather them have some power and some energy to build stuff, man, because I can see it happening. I'm old enough now, I'm getting a pension from after SAG. Like, how many places give you pensions these days from radio or television? Not many. Every place that people work is, and damn it, it's gonna help me. You know, I'm not rich by any means, but a couple of grand a month from working at WBLS and KISS and a couple of stations. I'm like, wow, but yo, I worked for Radio One, kick butt. They gave me 2 weeks pay and that was it. Like NBC paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in contract time. So, you know, it's some of those things that we got to think, because I'm telling you, 20 to 40 and then 40 to 60 come so fast before you know it. Yeah, I see that gray on you right there, bro. Okay.
Right.
And before you know it, you gain like 20 pounds, and then your boys back home eating and shit, and then all of a sudden you're on dialysis and die. You know, we got to stay mentally healthy and physically healthy too. And look, I lost over 70 pounds, you know, from when I really got big, like,
right.
And now I feel better. I'm 63 years old. So fast. Poof, wax on my no, I'm only kidding.
But he did lose some years, people. The brother looks like he gained another. He back down to 40 years old. You know.
Yeah, but but it's feeling too, and it just makes it a whole lot easier to deal with the bumps and bruises in this. Because and we do a really poor job of, I call it public success and private failure, where we look at people like they're really together and inside their family's messed up. They might have a bigger house or a car and they lose that and it's back to, yo, think about happiness, man. Because that shit lives forever.
I'm glad you brought that up. How were you affected by the COVID? What was your experiences? A lot of people lost loved ones. A lot of people were, you know, I know you described a little bit to me before the show started, but give people an idea of what was your salt and pepper, if you will, to what we went through last year.
You know, to be honest, my life didn't change that much, except the people that were getting sick and dying and the results on business. But it turned me around that month when it got closed. I was supposed to be speaking at Harvard, Berkeley. I had a big speaker tour going out and making some great money. So I was like planning on making like $24,000 in the last week of March.
Right.
And everything got canceled. Wow. But I don't get upset about money, like winning and losing in money. Like if I'm okay, if I can order some DoorDash, got a nice crib and peace of mind, I'm good. You know, so I'm not gonna let this corona get me down, but I'm gonna try to help the people going through it. And you know, and that's why I sort of keep my circle small, you know, where you can really reach out and touch people and help, and people can help you and be honest. But yeah, it's been tough. You know, the station hasn't been the same for over a year. We had a concert planned that got canceled. A lot of money was lost, but but that's part of the punches, man. Like if this would have happened 20 years ago, I might have been with a bag of blow. But now I'm like,
oh man, well, you're
my dog, and I'm happy. So
you funny as hell, man.
But I'm honest, shit.
No, man, we need life is a tragic comedy, and that's what we need. We need laughter to go with this. Salt.
But we need truth too. Like everybody doesn't have this Instagram life of filters. Like we look at Instagram like people really living like this shit. And we know everybody, no matter who you are, when you go back in that house with your woman or your man, or shit is like different. I don't care if you got marble on the walls, there gonna be times where
but we grew up without that technology. So for us, we know the truth. If anything, we would be the ones they would be trying to convince otherwise, because we already lived it. We knew behind the scenes. Most people, you know, if they got in an argument the other night, Mama's still gonna get up and cook breakfast. She gonna make things look pretty. I mean, even if you heard the night before all the shit getting crazy, she was still gonna make sure that Sunday morning the kids had a meal and it seemed somewhat normal. For us, we know how deep things go. This particular generation, they don't have, because a lot of them may not respect history to even care, to look deeper. Everything is surface. Our music is surface. Our resolutions are surface. Oh, he disrespected me. Let me go kill him. So it's just everything's kind of surface. Do you see
we
us?
need more love,
Right.
love,
right?
Like and more conversations like this,
Right.
And like it'd be great to do a show with 20 people in the room talking, if you can get that balance. Or
hey
5
man,
or 6,
I love that.
And that's why I've been, it's funny. I've been on that Clubhouse app and in rooms, and when you're in room with the 60-year-old and 40-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 18-year-olds, that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't happen at the dinner table. Like that used to be Thanksgiving, where you would have everybody talking and get in arguments with Uncle Harold and shit like that.
Right.
But I can count those situations on a finger.
A lot of it.
Now technology makes it easier.
A lot of it, to me, and I can only say by my witnessing of it, by me living it. Life is a healthy balance of sometimes what you want to do and what you need to do. Normally, what you need to do is the right thing to do. And what you want to do, normally it's you getting in the way of what needs to happen. When we're talking about family and people talking, most people elect to not want to talk to each other because there's no need in their mind to do it, nor do they want to do it. But sometimes that's the very thing that may stop you from going into a depressive mode, going into a big depression.
So you're on a subject that it took me 20 years to master.
Right.
Hey man, can I just ask you one question?
Yes.
I want to get a screen like yours behind that has stuff flashing, man. Can you teach me how to do that?
Oh man,
as the old show with Roman, I've been watching all that, and I'm looking behind me, and this star hasn't moved, and this work on
that. Boy, you a fool, man.
Thanks, man.
School in the summertime. No, man, I'm telling you, I'll hook you up, bro. No worries, I got you.
Okay,
Man. You already know, bro. But yeah, man, just you said you've been harping on it all night, and I think we can't say it enough. How about we start communicating more?
Yeah.
How about we start giving reasons to talk to each other versus reasons to not talk to each other? No, I ain't got no time for that. Nah, I don't even know that nigga like that.
My followers, man. It looks crazy. I only have 7 followers. I only follow 7 people, and I got 44,000 because I don't want to hear what you say. Remember that. Y'all follow me at Music Biz U. I follow back. Sometimes, if you got enough followers, I'll follow you back.
Oh, hell no, man. You a fool, man. Man, I do want your take on where do you see music going. Are you hopeful, or are you worried? 2021.
Man, I don't. To be honest, things are hopefully are gonna go back. History repeats itself.
Yeah,
I'm looking for more. I've been hearing influxes of R&B and like real vocals, and I'm glad the Bruno and the Anderson .Paak. I'm just hoping to get back to real music that means something. And I think people are slowly think about it, man. We used to be involved with artists, like you really had a love. And now you're more in love with their Instagram than their music. Like how many people put on a record? But let's just see. And I'm not bashing what's going on now, but there's a lot of great music here. You just gotta search it out. And hopefully you spend more time. because great music could change your life.
Yeah, yeah. And also too, just how do you feel about Orlando's base and what?
Yo, to be honest, can I just tell you, I don't know where Orlando's base is. Like I've been here a dozen years and it's all over the place. Like I've been talking to a couple of new people that are here now and starting to get a feel, but I know the old stories and the Lou and the Backstreet Boys type, but I don't know the black people like building and like, and I hear a couple of people that sort of do well, but half the time they're just doing the stereotypical, I's a rapper and I shoot them, so
right.
I haven't really gone into the whole city scene and I've been all over, but I don't feel like they have this spot that, and maybe it'll happen. And I would love to see it, man. It's this important that we get together and build. And I'm since I started, I'm all about my city. I believe that we should be as a cohesive unit. We should be screaming Orlando from the balconies until somebody listens. We've heard all the stories from together, together. Look how Atlanta has changed the city because they all decided to get behind a couple of people.
Well, each other.
Like nobody, like I get a couple of calls from artists here, but nobody knows how to follow up. Like I would love to give a seminar on this, how to think about tomorrow. Like, and stop thinking about one record and think about the next 10 years. We got to do that on part 2, but I'm out of here, man. I got to go. I got to eat some pizza, man. I got to smoke some weed and do some drugs.
Doing the drugs. I'm fucking with you. But, hey, bro, so honored that you came on tonight, man. You're definitely one of the legends in this city, even if you don't know that.
I'm old. Thank you.
And bro, we got you, man. We support you and what you're doing with that station, man. And that shit is our city's voice right now. And so,
hey, man, let's do it again real soon, and let's get some people together. Like,
yeah, man.
Reach out. I'm at Music Biz U. Let's talk. Let's build. Like, I got stuff to share, and if you want to do it on Twitch or wherever, like, let's do it.
You hear that? He's challenging our people out here. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's talk. Right. Let's talk about the business. Give it up right now for the program director for 98.5 The Wire, Mr. Paul Porter, the legend. Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Hey, bro, you already know, man. You already know. Man, so honored to have this brother on tonight, man. It's a pleasure to have these things going on where we could talk about our people in the city. Shouts out to all my people out there, man, all my family out there. I love you guys, man. I could do this. I do this show because of you guys, man. And anytime, we have people that are contributing to our personal community, we got to bring them on. And that's what we're doing, man. Tomorrow, it is no different. We're talking to Miss Street Team legend, Mercedes Streets, tomorrow, man. Looking forward to that conversation. But until, man, hey, love all you guys. See you tomorrow.
Live on stage. The sound.
Orlando.
So, is they ready? Yes. The sound.